here is my number one tip to removing mental clutter from your life. But first, what is mental clutter? Mental clutter is when we feel so overwhelmed by all the thoughts and things going on in our life that we can't think clearly. You might be saying the phrase, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a fog a lot. I can't think clearly right now. I know the word, it's on the tip of my tongue. What is it? Do I have plans tomorrow for that? I can't even remember. Those are key signs that mental clutter is impacting your life. So when we have all of that going on in our heads, we can't think clearly, obviously. It's like having physical clutter all in our path and we can't walk forward. You have to step over things or move things out of the way, and then all of a sudden, where were you going in the first place? So by removing mental clutter, we can start to think clear. And you'll find that the things that you say change. Okay, so here's my number one tip on removing mental clutter. Many people like you to create a list. That's wonderful, but I know for me, it feels super overwhelming then. So I want you to get a jar, a glass jar, a plastic jar, whatever it might be. And I want you to have little sticky notes beside it. And every time you feel like you're overwhelmed with mental clutter, I want you to create a clutter jar. That jar needs to be filled to the brim by the end of the week. No, not really. But you're going to find in the very beginning that you probably fill it within a day. And then over time, less will fill the clutter jar. So take a sticky note and write down one thing that is mental clutter for you that day. Worrying about blah, blah, blah. Thinking about how to plan for this. The birthday party coming up. Each sticky note, fold it up into the jar. And I want you to visualize that you are removing that clutter and putting it in the jar, not to forget it necessarily, because you might still need to plan that birthday party, but to have less of an impact of the weight of it in your mind. And you always know you can go to your clutter jar if there's something you are afraid that you've forgotten. Believe me, your brain won't let you do that. As you start to declutter your mind by creating this filled up clutter jar, each day you're going to find when you sit down to do the activity, you might have less clutter in your mind. You're going to start seeing you can think clearer because you've removed items that really aren't that important but feel so important from your brain. Often the feeling of worry is what creates the urgency of a mental clutter item. And when we remove it and put it into a jar and kind of go, okay, it's contained, it's there, everything's good, then we make it less impactful, less negative. And we start to go, okay, birthday party, yeah, I know how to plan this really fast, actually. It's not going to be so hard because I've removed the worry, the stress, the anxiety over it, the feeling like I've got so much on my plate already, and gone, what's really important about this task? What's really important about the things I'm trying to accomplish this week? So go create a clutter jar. You might need one for each of your family members. And see if you notice the change throughout a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks of doing it, and how much mental clutter you're holding on to each day, and what you're able to start accomplishing when you can think clearer.